Hello, good evening, everybody. Once again, I'm Ronald J. Raymond. If this is the first time that you guys have hopped on, and my co-host Hannah.
Hello, guys. I'm look a little bit different, not as pretty. I might look pretty in a minute, but I'm here. What's up, guys?
That's a
We're
lie. You
doing
look
it.
beautiful, and everybody knows it.
Okay, my camera setup doesn't look pretty like yours. You know, the pretty
Hey,
background that I made for us. I don't even get to use it because my computer is updating.
well, hi everyone, and today is our special segment called "Homeless to Home Free." Every third Thursday of each month, we're having this segment, "Homeless to Home Free." What it stems from is my experience on the streets, being homeless myself. Starting a month after my graduation of high school, I ended up becoming homeless, and I got myself in a community of a bunch of homeless youth around my age at that time. And I decided I didn't want to just stay in place. I didn't want to just conform to getting work either at that moment. You know, I was still kind of in that period of I wanted to find myself. I wanted to experience life, but I was told by everybody that I had met that was homeless, it's honestly way better to just leave the town that you're in if you become homeless and go and just try to experience a little bit of life, go and travel. So that's exactly what I did. I met a guy who was a year older than me, and he said he was about to hop on a freight train out of Portland and go down to San Francisco. And I'd always wanted to be, go and check out San Francisco. I always wanted to see how San Francisco was. And also, funny thing is, in the fourth grade, I decided I wanted to, for career day, I told everybody I wanted to be a hobo when I grew up. So a month after graduation, what I did was I hopped on a freight train, I left Portland, and I went hitchhiking. And I became a hobo. I ended up meeting my dream from when I was in elementary school. Everybody wanted to be a police officer, an astronaut, whatever. So,
Question.
yep.
I have a question. I know you've said this story a million times. Like, guys, he's not lying because every time he tells someone, I'm so glad he has a recording to use now because now I don't have to hear it. We can just be like, here, go listen to this podcast episode. No, I'm just kidding. Anyways, so wait, where did you get at least get a stick and then tie something around it and put things and like have like the please tell me you
The
did that at some
the
point.
generic hobo bag.
Yeah,
I
yeah, at
mean,
some
I've
point.
I've had moments like that, but no, not quite. I didn't get a bandana and tie it around, but there is, the bandana is a really big part of traveling. When I was traveling, people wear
Is
bandanas,
that what they
especially
put
if you're ever
around?
going to hop a freight train. It's dangerous. Don't ever do it. But if you were to ever do it, anybody out there in the world, you decide to ever do it, you want to have bandana, anything on you, because if you were to ever go through a tunnel, you want to make sure it's wetted down and you have that bandana over your face. Otherwise, you could die of carbon monoxide poisoning. So, it's a really big danger hopping on a train, being on a train, or anything like that. So, if you're going to travel, hitchhiking, rubber tramping, get a vehicle, do it the safe way. Do it the way that would actually help benefit you in a lot more ways than
Well, and
possibly falling
obviously,
off.
no one ever thinks about that either because, like, the
Mhm.
conductors and everything, they're fine because they're inside the whole, like, train itself. But,
Yep.
like, yeah, if you think about it, like, you get far enough down the tunnel, unless it's like a inch long tunnel, like, you're gonna have some sort of buildup of the gas in that area.
Yep. But other than the hop in of the train, since I only did one, most of it was traveling, hitchhiking. I was homeless, sleeping under bridges. I was sleeping behind bushes. Sometimes every once in a while, I'd get housed up somewhere at somebody's house for only a few days. Usually people I actually didn't know. They were really
Oh,
kind
wow.
of me, kind to have let me stay at their place. Some people, they have family members, kids or something that have gone through it, so they understand and they just want to be able to make sure that somebody else's kid is able to be taken care of.
Yeah, I know you
So
have
yeah,
a couple of like, I know you have a couple of like key stories you always like to tell people of like people who were just like really kind and like if I do say so, changed your life, like just by the way
absolutely,
you talk about them.
absolutely. I mean, before and I'm about to introduce to you guys Yaroslav Vasicko, who is our guest of honor today. Here he is, right here. Uh, but basically, his story in my story, they're quite a bit different. My story is one of those that is kind of, I feel like, it's not as often that you hear somebody who goes into homelessness, kind of decides to continue to be homeless like I did, and continue to travel and do these things like I did, and over time I just decided that really I really wanted to just do something else with my life. There were multiple things that kind of scared me away from it a little bit more, and that's just because I want a family and kids one day. I want to be, stuff like that. But like Yari, I feel like his story is able to relate a lot more with a lot of people out there these days, struggling with alcoholism, drug addictions, and stuff like that keep them on the streets, like he had gone through at one point. And it is a beautiful honor to have you here today to share that story and how you've been able to go from your disillusioned success that you thought you were at, falling into your homelessness and your addiction, and now coming to where you are today and being able to just transform yourself and transition yourself into a better light.
Hello, Ronald. Hello, Hanna. Good to see you guys. Can you hear me
Good to see you
okay?
as well. Yep, can hear you perfectly.
Yes, we
Awesome.
can hear you good. Just a little bit of background. If you can turn down your sound, just a little. All right, well then you can't hear us. We'll be fine. We got
My
it. It's
sound.
perfect.
Yeah.
We're so glad you're here.
Yeah, it's exciting to be here with you. Let me see. Maybe this works better for us. Is this better for us? Try this. Can you hear me better?
Yeah, that sounds
Yeah.
amazing.
Okay. God, it's so good to see you.
So good to see you too.
It's been a little bit. I remember seeing together across the table, having lunch together and
Yeah, it's been a
connecting on
couple
a
months.
personal level. And here you are with your show. So I want to say congratulations to you
Thank you.
and what you're
Oh,
embarking
thank
on your
you.
journey and what you're stepping into and how you're serving community
Thank you.
and how you using these stories of various people to inspire others. I got a lot out of your show a couple of weeks ago with Johnny Regan, our mutual friend.
Hmm.
And God, this segment, it resonates with me on so many levels. We were speaking yesterday about what it was like growing up. I remember getting on my knees and thinking to God, be like, I'm pretty sure this is the wrong planet. Like I'm on. I'm pretty sure I don't quite fit in here, and I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure I'm in the wrong family too. It's just anxious. I felt out of place, and I never imagined that I one day would lose everything, and would have everything that I possessed in my car, and I would turn left and right, and I had nowhere to go. And I was a kid that grew up under communism with nothing, and I came to America to chase the proverbial American dream, and I overachieved a lot. You said that in the introduction, the elusive dream. But inside, I had that hole, and I hit a
Yeah.
bottom. I hit a bottom a few years ago that took me to places I never imagined. I was fortunate that I had good people that caught me,
Yeah.
that gave me a helping hand, and I thank God for that. Yes.
That's beautiful. And exactly like I totally relate with you there with the whole feeling, like what we were talking about with being kids growing up and feeling like aliens and all that. Because like me, I told you a little bit last night how, growing up I was, as a young kid, I lived with my mom who was a drug addict at that time, and now she's clean, which is amazing. I'm happy
Mm-hmm.
for her about. I'm proud of her of. And then shortly after, I lived with my father, who was a really strict father. Raised me under a soldier household. He was a strict soldier kind of mentality. He was very Christian as well,
Mm-hmm.
and the way that he was raised was a little more strict, so he didn't really know how how strict he was being. I feel like nowadays he's kind of grown to understand, but back then, it really alienated me, because at home I didn't feel like I could really be myself, or I could really share myself. I didn't really go to my parents for help for homework or anything like that. I felt very outcasted anywhere. So, being homeless, it kind of was one of my transition points of where it really kind of got me to understand going through those kind of given struggles, to understand myself and the struggles that I was forced into.
Yeah, the feelings are mutual. I grew up in a good family, and I think my parents did a great job. They provided.
Mm-hmm.
They really, they gave it my all. Even when they sent me in America, they paid for education and
Yeah,
to give me a chance. And I just, I definitely rebelled, Ronald. I rebelled,
absolutely.
and I went my own way, and eventually I crossed the line. I'm not sure if I was born with it or I developed it over time, but there was no turning back. And my life of addiction and alcoholism took over and really took me to the depths of despair, loneliness, doubt. And in the end, I was completely isolated. And we were speaking yesterday about that and what that feels like. And I was, I was just looking for one person to talk to. And, at the end, when I was alone and I was couch surfing and looking for a place to stay, and I would stay here and there and the other, um, eventually I was led to a person that was also looking to somebody to talk to, and the miracles began to happen. And we spoke about community and connection and what it takes to get out of these situations. And the moment of honesty, when you really get honest with yourself. For me, it
Yep.
was asking for help, and it was realizing that I was in trouble and I needed help. And what I consider the hand of God or my higher power, was there through people.
Yeah.
And today, all of that experience, I feel, is going towards doing just that, extending my hand, reaching down, and using my experience as a fuel, as a force of love and compassion towards those that are hurting, that are struggling, that are suffering. And that is the vision. That is the
Abs-
vision today, is to uplift one another. And I love what you guys are doing, this world communities, that we do it together.
Absolutely. And so could you go more into maybe your vision of what you hope for the next generation in homelessness, to kind of understand the people that are becoming homeless within these next times, this near recession that's coming up and everything? Anybody
Uh-huh.
that might end up going through it, who might end up watching this, do you have anything to maybe say for them to think about?
Yeah, one message I would have to say is that they're not alone, that they are loved, that they have a heavenly Father in heaven that loves them, and that people like me are there to the best of our ability to show up and keep showing up to remind them of that love. Today we do service
Beautiful.
work through various different places, and to me, service is just showing up. Could be a smile, could be a meal or a ride. Somebody just sent me a message before this. My friend Rick, he said, "Today's my birthday. I don't want anything, but think of those that are struggling. Hold out your hand, spend time with somebody, ask them how they're doing, pick up the phone, give a ride to somebody." You have one person, and that ripples. It ripples and it escalates from there. So, that is the vision. Ultimately, it is that every heart gets to feel this love. That's my
That's
that's my
beautiful.
vision. That every soul gets to experience this love.
That's
And
beautiful. And
yeah.
I was gonna say, just on the tip of that, do you wanna put up there real quick, Kirill, for me, the pictures of him at his signing and everything for the Global Vision Publishing, him and his book with Healed and Johnny. This is
Wow.
so beautiful.
Isn't that something, right? You can just see the
I just
light,
And I love
the
your
love.
cover because each time I look at it, I see something new. Like each time I look at it, like this time I just saw a beautiful like volcano in a sense erupting with all the different colors, just life. Um
You, you know, 8 years ago, I was a dead man walking, you know? And today, I've been restored, and it happened one step at a time, one day at a time. And it happened on the backs and with the help of many people. I call them angels. You were one of them. You know, our mutual friend Johnny Regan has been a great influence in my life, a friend, a visionary, a coach, a partner on this walk. And there's so many others. My business partner and his wife, I ended up on their couch for one day and I ended up staying for 6 months. This was love. And it turned out he was also looking for somebody to talk to, so you just never know, how it all weaves in together in this epic puzzle of life, right?
Yeah, for real. I mean, it's crazy because like uh you, so many people in today's society are told that we have to really like just do everything. We have to figure out how to do something ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
That we're constantly told that. Why can't you just do it? What's so hard about it?
Mm-hmm.
Why not? You could just do it. If I can do it, you can do it. Well, what we're not realizing when we're telling each other that is basically, oh, you're not, there's no reason why I need to be helping you, even if it's nothing that you really need my help for. I mean, I don't want to be there for you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's basically what you're saying in a sense in that moment, is like, even though you're reaching your hand and I clearly see that, you might need help, I'm still dismissing it because I think for some reason that I'm too good for you in that moment. I'm able to overcome something so great. Why can't you overcome it? But in reality, you only overcame that thing because of the people in your society, in your community around you, that were able to help you heal and grow too. I mean, I can guarantee that that person didn't just go and sit alone forever by themselves and become happy. I mean, we're social beings, so we are a community of people.
Yeah, we're definitely. Excuse me, my light just went down. So just a moment for a second here.
That's
But
totally fine.
what I would like to say about this is that I, I wasn't ready until I was ready to receive the help, and this is a crucial part of this. And what I'm trying to say is that the help was there for me, and I dismissed it. I pushed it away. I thought I knew better. I just wasn't ready to get honest and actually grow. But there came a time, I call that a moment of clarity, where I realized that I actually needed to change in order to live. And once I opened myself to that realization, the world of possibility opened for me along with it. Those angels began to show up. So I walked into a 12-step house, and out of that manifested somebody who became my driver for 2 years. I had no car license and this person he was an angel. 3 days later, I met a pastor that put me on his couch early on. And on and on, it began to unfold in such a way, you can't skip these things. But it took me going down to the bottom, that moment of honesty and clarity, and also humility. I was humiliated to humility. I don't recommend this, but this was my experience. Everything that I built was completely in shambles. All my relationships and bridges were burnt. And in the end, I was left alone. And God met me where I was, and He sent people.
That's beautiful.
It's like that. That joke or that analogy. It's a man is praying, right? God help me, and He sends him a rowboat, and He sends him another boat, and He sends him a helicopter, right? And God, where were you all this time? Well, I'm sending you all these things. Come on, pay attention. And today, what's incredible about this is today I am in a web of community and web of love of people that are walking with me, right? And I get to be a contributor. I get to be a giver as opposed to a taker. You know, that's just the transformation. You see my book, Healed.
Yep.
The darkness from light, you had it on the images, you know, brokenness into really worthiness.
That's
And
beautiful.
it's just, it's a miracle. It is a miracle. You know, I stand to testify, and going back to your initial question, there is hope, there is love, it's possible, you're not alone, it's never too late, and the miracle can happen in any moment if you're ready, if you're willing, if you want what we have and are willing, as we say, could go to any length to get it. And I was.
That's awesome. And will you tell the audience a little bit of how you became homeless and where you were around that time when you became homeless and how you
So
became
you know, my life, I came to America and I overachieved, and I had a very good career in financial services. And the disease of alcoholism and addiction started taking over. I began to have consequences, and little by slowly, I started to lose things. And in the end, I let it all go. It's all through to my hands. And so, yeah, I was living in South Florida, and everything was gone. The car was gone. The apartment was gone. I was evicted, kicked out. All the savings were gone. You know, on and on and on. And here I was, you know, I'm sleeping by the pool in my condo after they threw me out, you know, and the manager comes and knocks on my shoulder. He goes, "Man, we love you, but you gotta go, kid."
Wow.
You know, and I got a towel and I'm sleeping, and I said, you know, this is for you. I'm still in active addiction at the time, and it began to get real for me. You know,
Yeah.
that's when I knew that the end was near. That I was praying. Actually, my prayer was this. I said, God, let me see the other side through this, or let me die. I was willing to die, and hoping to break through, to be able to live a sober life. And he
Yeah.
sent me one person who told me, Ari, I think I can help you. All you need is a little bit of faith. And I got something that I didn't have in a long, long time, which was hope. In that
That's
moment, I
awesome.
began to get hope that I could actually live a different life, a sober life, a clean life, a productive life, and life that is pleasing to my maker, which I believe that I'm living today to the best of my ability.
That's just beautiful. How and what age were you around that time?
So this was like 2014 into 2015. That's when I bottomed out. So, you know, 8 years ago or so. I'm 45, so that would make me mid 30s.
Okay.
Yeah, I
And so
started over at that time. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. There's a big that's a and that, you know, I feel honestly, you know, that's one of the better times.
Uh huh.
It's hard to say, it's weird to say, but after meeting so many people in my travels and being on the streets and meeting people of all different ages on the streets, you know, I feel like the mid 30s is roughly the best, like late 20s, mid 30s is roughly the best time to really kind of figure out yourself on the road. If you become homeless, because usually the younger that you become, you know, the younger you're on the streets, a lot of times it starts indoctrinating different ways of your lifestyle because you haven't grown enough or haven't developed enough in order to really, you know, build that routine or that regimen on your life and that discipline. So you kind of fall into certain habits. Like a lot of people I've known that, you know, they just constantly they fall in love with the idea because it's that rebelliousness you mentioned earlier. It's
Uh-huh.
that mentality they get stuck in their head, and when they're, you know, because of addiction or whatever, it stunts that growth, and it continues to keep them in that childlike mentality of rebellion. So, you know, and so the middle age part, I feel like around late 20s, early 30s, you know, is roughly the better time, if you were to ever deal with it. Less struggle, but more struggle, you know, at the same time. Less struggle, I feel when it comes to breaking out of it, just because you have kind of an understanding of your life prior, but more struggle when it comes to going into it because you have that preconception of your life prior to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're so right about this age. For whatever reason, it's a time where, even in the world of addiction and alcoholism, that's typically when people get to a point where they've had enough.
Mm-hmm.
It's a point where they surrender to a better way of life.
Yep.
And typically it's a time where they reach that point of what I call clarity, honesty, when they're willing to look themselves in the mirror and say, you know what, is this why God made me? Is this all there is? Perhaps they start, like me, asking the big question: is there something bigger happening here? Why am I here? What's my purpose? What's my calling? And at least in my experience, I try to help a bunch of people that were transitioning or even homeless. And some of them, we would find them housing. They would last one day and they would want to go back. They clearly just preferred that way of life. Some of them were not ready. I remember a lady, I picked her up by Whole Foods in North Miami. We found her a room in Fort Lauderdale, and she called me and said, Yari, the air conditioning here is way too loud. And I said, this is a room with AC and a shower, but she preferred where she was. And so you just never know what people are going through, where they want to be. We say in recovery, don't rob anybody off their bottom. And that it seems like a weird statement, but in that bottom we actually find that magical place of surrender, where the miracle happens, where we actually hit a point where we are willing to let go of our old ways and surrender to a better way of life. And that's what happened to me.
That's beautiful. And we only have a few short minutes left on our show. I do want to ask you a couple more questions. I want to ask you one more question, and then have you, if you would mind, I would love for you to share one of your poems from your book, if you would like, just to kind of show the audience really what your healing process has done for you from your transition through homelessness and addiction and all of that. But my question first is, what would you like those who haven't experienced homelessness and addiction to think about when they see those around them that are struggling with it?
We spoke about this yesterday a little bit, about the eyes of compassion. Never judge anybody. You just don't know what they've been through. You don't know their story. You don't know their struggle. And look at them as your brother and sister. They are you. And they were just as made in the image of God as you were. And, when I see some of those folks at different places I go, and we try to feed them food or do the best we can, I see myself. And what a gift. What a gift that transformation and healing in my heart has allowed me to see that. And so that would be my first and biggest takeaway and message to the listeners about that.
That's lovely. I'm glad you shared everything today with your experience and your knowledge and your perspective on it. It's an honor to have you be our first guest on this segment. This segment is, it is my pride and joy of this show of Laws of Community. Homelessness has really made a huge difference in my life. Experiencing it and being around those who have been homeless, of all different walks of homelessness kind of life. There's so many different aspects to it. It's crazy.
The honor is mine. It's a blessing. I'm your fan. I'm your friend. I'm your brother in the walk, in the journey, and I look forward to co-creating with you and collaborating and sharing love for many years to come.
Same.
And it's God, I'm so grateful I got to be here. Even sitting in my car, at a gas station, I'd rather be nowhere else right now than here. So
That's
I
beautiful,
apologize. The lighting
especially
wasn't the
after
best, but I worked all day, but I wanted to be here. Thank you so much. I don't know how much time we have or don't have.
I think we've got like 5 more minutes, y'all.
I think we have just a few more minutes for you to share a poem and to
Yeah.
close us off with
And
that.
we'll
And
let you
know,
get back on the road so you can get home because it's
Yep.
already so dark. I feel
I
bad
can't
now.
wait to see you face to face and color with you. And God, that painting, Hanna, Winds of Change.
Yes.
Speak about the Winds of Change. That's your painting that I look forward to having in my, I still haven't had my own home, so to speak, since the journey began, but that will be the moment. So it's still evolving. I have a beautiful place where I'm staying and I'm blessed, but I look forward to the next stage where I actually get to, have my own space. But I would like to read one. It's called A Turn. May I do it?
Absolutely.
From Healed. This is Healed. I'm going to plug it. It's available on Amazon, published by Global Vision Publishing in collaboration with Johnny Regan and lots of talented people. And spirit led. This is the turn where the book begins to turn into love after a lot of longing and darkness. So I'm going to read you the turn, New Leaf, the subtitle. Sun-kissed the dawn, well beyond yawn, beyond all the fray, mundane and gray, promised at noon, the stars and the moon, sweetness caress, my chest tightly press, fogging the breath, rebirth from death, catharsis of soul, unshattered and whole. With you alone, release from the prone, straitjackets gone, free to go on. Free to go roam the pedestrian zone, liberated to look under each unturned stone. Kiss now each frog through mirage of fog, through clutter distract for the one piece intact. Turn over a new leaf, relieving relief, discovering gold buried under my grief, hidden way down below the dark smothering glow. Heats rising above, melt ice capping flow, revealing bright shine. Two heartbeats combine, pulled forward by force that's charting my course, drawn straight to the light, to the eye of eyesight, to the eye of the storm, to that above norm, off to unusual love, through mountains of tough, through the steepest of climbs, down poetic verse rhymes. It's ascending descent, graceful beyond descent. The lover boy's free fall to the deep that knows end. And that's the turn. Yeah.
Wow, that gave me some shivers down my whole body when you got to the part with seeing the frog mirage fog.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Like,
Kiss now each frog through the mirage of fog, through clutter distract for the one piece intact.
yeah,
Yes.
it
We're turning over, and we are the message of hope that you can always turn over a new leaf, that there's always around the bend, that the miracle could be a moment away. And that's the takeaway I hope people got from here, that it is possible. And we are here to help you. If nobody else, please know that I love you and we love you.
Yes, we love you.
Yes?
Yep.
Yes.
Amen.
Thank you so much for joining us, Yari. This has been amazing just to listen to you two, and yeah, just definitely touched my heart. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much, Yari.
Likewise.
Awesome.
You too.
Thank
You
you.
too. Big hug. Thanks for having
Yep.
me, and God bless your show, and lots of success.
Absolutely.
And many more to come.
Yeah,
Same
can't
to you.
wait to see you next month.
You got
Yes,
it.
we'll see you at the Global Vision Conference.
January 21st, 2023.
Yep.
Woo!
Fort Lauderdale Convention
All
Center
of
with
us-
Les Brown.
All of us
We'll all
under
be
Johnny
on
Regan,
stage.
Global Vision
Raise the
Publishing
roof.
will all be there.
All right, thanks,
So
Yari.
excited.
All right, guys. Thank you
have
so
a
much.
wonderful.
Bye,
You have a
Yari.
wonderful night, Yari.
Good night. Thank you. You too.
Oh,
Oops. Whoops.
sorry.
Thank
Didn't
you
mean-
so much, though.
Yeah,
That was
thank you so much,
amazing,
Yari. I didn't mean to
Yari.
cut you off at the end.
But
well,
I mean, I guess
thank you, ever.
wrap it up.
Huh? You want
I
to?
guess we'll wrap it up. No. You already had it going. Just roll with it.
Well, thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight for our special segment, Homeless to Home Free with Jaroslav. he is, an amazing author and poet. That poetry definitely, I can't wait for you guys to hear more of it, read more of it. Go and check him out. Go and get his book. Go and read his poetry. There is a lot more in there that you guys would just you would feel it in your soul. Last night I listened to another one that he sent me, and it was, it really hit me really
Powerful.
hard. So go and check them out. And we will see you next week on our regular segment of Laws of Community. And we will be introducing Caroline Pena, who is another author under Johnny Regan and the Global Vision Publishing. And she also will be there at the Global Vision Conference next month on the 21st of January. And we all will hopefully be able to learn a little bit more about how to really just, we started out this month with the beginning of a journey. Then we went into self-recognition and self-empowerment. This week was more about, kind of coming into that realization that we're not alone, and that, we really are here for each other. It really takes, each other to really grow and to help save the next generation from trauma. So next week we'll be closing it out with being, more embodying of the community and forgiving, all the past. So and that ties in with Caroline's book, A New Forgiveness. So
Yeah, all about self-love.
yep, self-love and really just, wrapping it all up. So thank you again, guys, and we appreciate you for joining in with us today.
Yes, thank you to all of our live viewers. And if you want to catch us live and you're actually listening on the podcast, which we have it on Spotify and other platforms as well, be sure to come find us on Facebook, Oasis Fundamentals LLC, or Crystal Dragon Illumination, or the Oasis Fundamentals YouTube channel, and watch us live, comment live, and just like we show other people's comments throughout the live show, we will show yours. And yeah, come back next week for Self Love with Caroline Pena. Bye, guys.
Bye.